Listen to me, before 2026 shows up at your door, I need you to answer one question. Who are you becoming when nobody is watching? Because some of you are busy chasing attention, but you've lost your focus. Some of you are overworking for applause, but you're undervaluing yourself, and you wonder why you feel tired, empty, anxious, and unsure. Let me tell you something. Success does not come to the distracted. Peace does not visit the desperate. Confidence does not live in chaos. You don't need a new year to change your life. You need a new focus. You need to remember your worth. You need to stop begging for validation from people who don't even see your value. 2026 is not waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to be intentional. This is the year you stop shrinking to fit places that never deserved you. This is the year you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. This is the year you stop pouring energy into things that drain your soul. If you can focus, if you can value yourself, you won't just succeed. You'll walk in peace, stand in confidence, and move with purpose. Now look at your neighbor and say, this year I choose me. Focus is not something you wait to feel. It is something you choose, even when every part of you feels pulled in 100 different directions. Too many people believe they will get serious when motivation shows up, but motivation is unreliable, emotional, and temporary. Focus, on the other hand, is a decision you make when distractions are loud and discipline feels uncomfortable. If you wait until it feels easy, you will be waiting forever. Life will always offer noise, interruptions, opinions, and emergencies, but the focused person learns how to stand still in the middle of the storm and keep their eyes locked on what matters most. Every time you give your attention to something, you are giving it a piece of your life. Attention is currency, and you cannot afford to spend it on everything that asks for it. Social media wants it. Other people's expectations want it. Yesterday's regrets want it, and tomorrow's fears want it. But focus demands that you decide what deserves your energy and what must be denied access to your mind. When you don't decide, distractions decide for you, and they never choose what is best for your future. Focus is the bridge between intention and results. You can have big dreams, powerful prayers, and great ideas, but without focus, they remain unfinished thoughts. The reason many people feel stuck is not because they lack ability, but because their attention is scattered. They start, stop, restart, and repeat the same cycle, confusing movement with progress. Focus says, I will stay here long enough for something to grow. It refuses to quit at the first sign of discomfort and refuses to chase every new opportunity that looks exciting but leads nowhere. When you choose focus, you are also choosing sacrifice. You are choosing to disappoint distractions so you don't disappoint your destiny. You are choosing depth over speed, clarity over chaos, and purpose over popularity. Focus does not mean you do everything. It means you do the right thing consistently. It narrows your vision so your impact can widen. What you concentrate on expands, and what you neglect slowly fades away. There will be moments when focus feels lonely because not everyone will understand why you are no longer available for everything. People may call you distant, changed, or selfish, but what they are really noticing is that you are no longer easily accessible to confusion. Focus requires courage because it forces you to say no without guilt and yes without fear. It teaches you to protect your time like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. When you decide to focus, peace begins to replace anxiety. The mind becomes clearer, decisions become sharper, and confidence grows quietly. You stop reacting to everything and start responding to what aligns with who you are becoming. Focus anchors you when emotions try to pull you apart. It reminds you that success is not about doing more, but about doing what matters most with intention, patience, and unwavering commitment. Self-value is not something the world gives you. It is something you recognize within yourself. The moment you understand your worth, the way you move through life begins to change. You stop asking people to treat you right and start requiring it. You stop negotiating your dignity for acceptance. Many people struggle not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they tolerate things that slowly drain their confidence. What you allow becomes what you live with, and what you live with eventually shapes who you become. When you don't value yourself, you accept conversations that belittle you, environments that exhaust you, and relationships that take more than they give. You convince yourself that this is normal, that this is just how life is, but deep inside you feel the weight of compromise. Self-value draws a line that says, this is where I end and disrespect begins. It is not arrogance, it is awareness. It is understanding that your peace, time, and energy are too valuable to be wasted on what diminishes you. The level of your self-value determines the standards you set and the boundaries you enforce. Without boundaries, your life becomes an open door where anyone can walk in, leave a mess, and walk out without consequence. Valuing yourself teaches you that saying no is not rejection, it is protection. It teaches you that walking away is sometimes the strongest form of self-respect. You don't need to explain every decision to people who benefit from you having none. Many people stay stuck because they are afraid of being alone, misunderstood, or criticized. They choose familiarity over fulfillment and comfort over growth. But when you value yourself, you stop clinging to what no longer serves you. You realize that being alone for a season is better than being surrounded by people who make you feel invisible. Self-value gives you the strength to endure temporary discomfort for long-term peace. When you truly value yourself, your tolerance for chaos decreases. You no longer entertain unnecessary drama, emotional manipulation, or constant negativity. You become selective with your time because you understand that every hour spent in the wrong place is an hour stolen from your purpose. This shift does not make you cold, it makes you clear. Clarity is kindness to yourself. Your self-value also shapes how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. You stop rehearsing failure in your mind and stop punishing yourself for past mistakes. You learn from them without living in them. Valuing yourself means believing that your future deserves better than your past and that you are worthy of growth, healing, and success. When self-value rises, confidence follows naturally. You don't need validation to stand tall because you are rooted in self-respect. You move differently, decide differently, and attract differently. People treat you based on what you believe about yourself, and life responds to the standards you are willing to uphold. When you value yourself, you don't just change what you tolerate, you change the entire direction of your life. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It is the quiet force that stands guard over your future while the present tries to seduce you into comfort. Many people want progress without structure, results without restraint, and success without sacrifice, but discipline is the price tag attached to every meaningful outcome. It is not loud, glamorous, or exciting, yet it determines who advances and who stays stuck, repeating the same year over and over again. Every undisciplined decision feels small in the moment, but over time, those moments stack up and begin to shape your life. Discipline understands that what you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. It shows up when motivation disappears and emotions fluctuate. While feelings change, discipline remains steady, choosing what is necessary over what is easy. It is the ability to act in alignment with your goals even when comfort calls your name. Discipline protects your future by teaching you to delay gratification. It reminds you that not everything you desire in the moment deserves a yes. There are things that feel good now but cost too much later, and discipline sees the long-term consequences before they arrive. It keeps you from sabotaging tomorrow for the sake of temporary relief today. When you learn to govern yourself, you no longer need life to discipline you through failure and regret. True discipline begins internally. It is not about controlling everything around you, but about mastering what happens within you. Your thoughts, reactions, habits, and responses either work for you or against you. Discipline trains the mind to stay focused when distractions are loud and trains the body to move even when it wants to stop. It creates consistency, and consistency is what transforms effort into achievement. Many people misunderstand discipline as restriction, but in reality, it creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain more of it. When you are disciplined with your energy, you feel less drained. When you are disciplined with your choices, you experience fewer regrets. Discipline reduces chaos and replaces it with clarity. It builds trust within yourself because you begin to believe in your own word again. Discipline also shapes your identity. Every disciplined choice reinforces the belief that you are capable, reliable, and committed. Over time, confidence grows not from hype, but from evidence. You start to trust yourself because you see that you show up even when it's hard. This self-trust becomes unshakable because it is earned, not imagined. There will be days when discipline feels heavy, when shortcuts look tempting and quitting seems reasonable. But discipline reminds you why you started and who you are becoming. It anchors you in moments of weakness and steadies you when emotions threaten to derail your progress. Discipline does not promise immediate rewards, but it guarantees long-term results. It quietly builds a future you will one day be grateful you protected. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of clarity in the middle of them. Many people chase success thinking it will finally quiet their minds, but they arrive at achievement still restless, still anxious, still empty. That is because peace was never meant to be a reward you collect after success. It is a form of success in itself. If you gain everything and lose your inner calm, the cost is too high. No matter how impressive it looks from the outside, peace is expensive because it requires honesty. It forces you to admit when something no longer aligns with who you are becoming. It asks you to let go of situations that feed your ego but starve your soul. There are opportunities that look good, pay well, and impress others, yet they leave you emotionally drained and spiritually disconnected. Peace teaches you to measure success not only by what you gain, but by what you keep intact inside of you. When peace becomes a priority, your decision-making changes. You stop rushing into commitments out of fear of missing out. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who are not invested in understanding you. You begin to slow down, listen inwardly, and choose from a place of alignment rather than pressure. Peace does not mean you stop striving. It means you stop fighting yourself in the process. Many people live in constant tension because they are trying to please everyone while neglecting their own well-being. Peace exposes the exhaustion that comes from living for approval. It invites you to step off the treadmill of comparison and competition. When you are at peace, you are no longer threatened by someone else's progress because you are secure in your own path. You learn that success is not a race and life is not a performance. Peace also strengthens you. It gives you the emotional stability to handle challenges without panic. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with wisdom. Instead of being consumed by chaos, you remain grounded. Peace sharpens your focus and conserves your energy. It keeps you from wasting time on arguments that lead nowhere and relationships that offer no mutual respect. There will be times when choosing peace feels like loss, walking away from familiar environments, ending patterns that once felt comfortable, or saying no to things you once prayed for can be painful. But peace understands that not everything you outgrow was bad. Some things were simply seasonal. Letting go is not failure, it is evolution. When peace becomes your measure of success, confidence begins to rise naturally. You move with calm assurance rather than frantic urgency. Your presence becomes steady, your mind clearer, and your heart lighter. Peace creates space for creativity, joy, and purpose to flourish. In the end, the greatest achievement is not how much you accumulate, but how whole you remain while pursuing your calling. Confidence does not come from applause, approval, or validation. It comes from alignment. When your actions match your values, your confidence becomes unshakable because it is rooted in truth, not opinion. Many people feel insecure not because they are incapable, but because they are living out of alignment with who they really are. They say yes when they should say no. They stay silent when they should speak. And over time, that inner conflict erodes their confidence. When you rely on approval, your confidence becomes fragile. It rises when people praise you and collapses when they criticize you. That kind of confidence keeps you performing instead of becoming. Alignment frees you from that trap. It allows you to stand firm even when you are misunderstood, overlooked, or questioned. When you know why you do what you do, you don't need everyone to agree with you. Alignment begins with honesty. It requires you to acknowledge what matters to you, what you believe in, and what you will no longer compromise. The more you ignore your values, the louder your insecurity becomes. But when you honor them, even in small ways, something shifts inside you. You begin to trust yourself. That self-trust is the foundation of real confidence. Confidence built on alignment is quiet but powerful. It doesn't need to announce itself or prove anything. It shows up in how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you make decisions. You stop second-guessing every move because your choices are guided by purpose rather than pressure. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions by external expectations because your internal compass is clear. There will be moments when alignment costs you approval. Some people will not like the boundaries you set or the changes you make. They may call you difficult, distant, or changed, but alignment teaches you that being liked is not the same as being respected, and being accepted is not the same as being fulfilled. Confidence grows when you choose integrity over popularity. When you are aligned, failure no longer destroys you. You see setbacks as feedback rather than verdicts on your worth. Because your confidence is not tied to outcomes, you can learn, adjust, and continue forward without losing yourself. Alignment gives you resilience. It allows you to stand back up without shame because you know you are walking in your truth. As alignment deepens, fear begins to loosen its grip. You are no longer afraid to be seen or unseen because your identity is secure. You move with intention instead of hesitation. You stop comparing your journey to others because you are committed to your own path. Confidence becomes a natural byproduct of living honestly, courageously, and consistently with who you are meant to be. 2026 is not a continuation of last year. It is a new season. And a new season requires a new version of you. You cannot step into something bigger while carrying old mindsets, worn out habits, and unresolved fears. The person who will thrive tomorrow is not the person who merely survived yesterday. Growth demands transformation, and transformation begins with the willingness to let go of what no longer serves your purpose. You cannot upgrade your life without upgrading yourself. Old habits may feel comfortable, familiar, and safe, but they will never produce new results. Comfort zones are deceiving. They whisper promises of security while quietly keeping you small. If you keep doing what you've always done, you will keep getting what you've always gotten. 2026 requires courage. The courage to evaluate yourself honestly, the courage to confront your weaknesses, and the courage to embrace change even when it is uncomfortable. The world will not pause for you to catch up, and success will not wait for permission. The new you begins with awareness. You must understand where you have been, what patterns have held you back, and what behaviors need to be shed. Self-awareness is not about guilt or shame. It is about clarity and responsibility. It allows you to see the areas where you have been settling and to identify the choices that will elevate you. Once you see it clearly, you can act decisively because you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Transformation also demands intentionality. It is not enough to desire change. You must plan for it, practice it, and protect it. Every decision, every habit, every interaction should be filtered through the question, does this serve the person I am becoming? The new you cannot coexist with distractions, negative influences, or self-doubt. You must be deliberate in choosing environments, relationships, and routines that nurture growth rather than drain energy. Letting go is part of becoming. Some people, opportunities, and beliefs that once felt essential will need to fall away. Holding on to them out of fear or nostalgia will only weigh you down. Transformation requires a willingness to create space for new experiences, new connections, and new achievements. You cannot plant seeds for tomorrow while clinging to yesterday's debris. The new you will also embrace resilience. Change is not linear, and there will be setbacks, resistance, and moments of doubt. But each challenge is a test of commitment. Each obstacle is an opportunity to reinforce your focus, your values, and your confidence. Growth is forged in persistence, in the refusal to give up, even when progress seems slow. Every step taken intentionally toward becoming the person you are meant to be strengthens your ability to walk boldly into the future. Stepping into 2026 as a new you means choosing to live intentionally, to value yourself, and to reject anything that limits your potential. It means leaving behind old fears, excuses, and distractions. The new you does not wait for permission, does not shrink to fit other people's expectations, and does not compromise peace for temporary gain. You arrive in 2026 not as the person who drifted through last year, but as the person who decided to rise to focus and to honor the life they are destined to lead. So now, listen to me, 2026 is calling, and it will not wait for hesitation. You cannot show up tomorrow with yesterday's doubts or half-hearted dreams. It is time to focus, to value yourself, to stand in your truth, and to walk boldly into the life you were created to live. Let every decision, every action, and every breath reflect the greatness inside you. Refuse to settle for less, refuse to dim your light, and refuse to shrink. Step into this year with courage, with clarity, and with the unshakable confidence that your best life is waiting, and it begins with you.